This is Nick Anthony Zamucen sitting across from my bestie, Big Jonny Rey.
Oh, Jesus.
Hey, we're going to talk about a bunch of adult things, use some adult humor, use some naughty language. So if you have children around, I suggest you either earmuff them or just put your headphones on.
Or let them listen and they'll have a hell of an education.
Welcome to Off the Diamond Cuff.
I think we should talk about things that annoyed us over the course of the weekend since we're shooting this on a Monday morning.
Couple things. Took the family out to dinner on Saturday night. Molly and I and the kids. Molly's my beautiful buxom, or should I say bustin'?
Buxom. B-U-X-O-M.
It's not even either one of the words.
But I mean, you know what? At the
Buxom. My beautiful buxom wife, meaning she has large boobies and a round butt.
She's going to love this.
But tell me it's not true. I mean, she
it's very
does. I
much
mean,
true.
my goodness. She's got big, beautiful blue eyes as well.
Beautiful figure.
Long blonde hair. Mm-hmm. She's basically, as I tell Betty, she's Barbie.
Very much so.
If you want to marry Barbie, you better be able to provide Barbie with everything that she's looking for. The dream house, the car, the Malibu beachfront, whatever. If you want Barbie, and there's nothing wrong with wanting Barbie.
Right.
If you're on my side.
Well, this is true.
Okay.
My people just want to be friends with Barbie.
your people want to shop and,
Right.
and get their nails done with Barbie.
Right.
My people want to get Barbie naked and do things. So I know what your people do and my people do.
Exactly.
But okay, so I'm out to dinner with Molly and the kids, 3 lovely kids, boy and 2 girls, and it's not a 5-star restaurant. It's about a 4.5. It's a good steakhouse. And I look to my left, and we sit down. And first of all, it's cold. She's like, Molly's like, she's very temperamental, and Molly's having a fit. So I said, great, no problem. Let me fix it for you. So I tapped the waiter. I said, hey, I think his name was Tony. I said, Tony, let's come here for a second. He's like, yes, sir. And they say, Mr. Zamucen, because they know who I am here. We've gone this place a few times.
Well, yes.
They said, yes, Mr. Zamucen. I said, I need you to do me a favor. You feel that little breeze that's going on here? He's like, actually, yeah, I do. I said, she's cold. And when she's cold, that means the dinner's going to be shitty. Meaning, we got to fix this, Tony. He said, no, right away, Mr. Zamucen. He said, would you like me to turn the heat up? I said, no, we're in a restaurant with 100 other people. Let's not inconvenience everybody because manners.
Well, yes.
I said, could you just turn down the fan? Turn down whatever's blowing down on the table. And he said, sure, no problem. And he got the manager, he hit it, no problem. Okay, that's fixed.
Great.
So I'm sitting there, kids are ordering. Molly's to my left, we're chatting about this or that, just life in general. And then I look over just slightly left, and I see this fucking yuckle, this fucking guy sitting there with a goddamn hat on.
No.
In a fucking restaurant. And his wife, girlfriend, thing that he's keeping on a leash is
Dining companion.
Dining companion, yes. Whatever you want to call this woman. She's sitting there in a sweatshirt, and probably because it was cold, to be fair.
Sure.
But she's in a sweatshirt. Now, I'm always wearing these very nice pants and this silk blouse. I'm in a jacket, as usual, et cetera. The kids look nice. So my 7-year-old looked better than this entire couple's table. And he's got his back turned to me. And Molly looks at them, and then she looks at me, and she's like, don't. I'm like, I didn't do anything. She's like, don't. I'm like, it's hard for me not to. She's like, it's not your restaurant. Don't. So I sighed and looked over at my son, and he's looking at me like, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? And so I very politely, I said, Tony, the waiter, I said, come here, buddy. Mr. Zamucen, yes. I said, could you do me a favor? I need you to go to that table right here. I think it's your table.
Oh, shit.
I said, is this your table? He's like, no, it's not. I said, okay, that makes it easier for you then. I said, I need you to go to that table, and I need you to tell that gentleman to remove his fucking ball cap, or I'm going to do it for him. And he's like, this one, sir? And I said, yeah, the only one in the whole fucking place with a ball cap on. I said, it's not my fault you guys sat me next to him. I can't eat with this fucking guy in a ball cap. I can't eat. I'm like, it's going to ruin my whole fucking meal. Hence, it ruins your tip. I would just, kind of like the heat or the cool, let's just get this handled.
Right.
And he's like, would it be appropriate if I had the manager ask him? I said, I don't give a fuck if you have the chef ask him. Just get the fucking ball cap off him. He's like, yes, sir. So he runs. And I see him on the other side of the restaurant, and I see the manager, take a look like, And then he looks at me and he's like, oh, shit. Kind of like, oh, fuck. Fucking Nick's here, son of a bitch. And I'm like, yeah, all I'm doing is looking out for the right of your restaurant. As you as the manager, how are you not, like in church, when the nuns would stand outside and God forbid you try to walk through the doors, they would rip the hat off, smack you in the face with it, and hand it to you, and then let you enter. How is that not happening in this restaurant? Because again, it's not a 5-star restaurant, I'll give you that. But it's a solid 4.5 steakhouse.
If there's a white tablecloth.
Yes, and there is.
Yeah.
And they even give you the white or the black napkins.
Yes.
Now, for those of you who don't eat out a lot and have no idea what the white or black napkins are, but the black napkins are for if you're wearing a darker color jacket or a pant, and the white ones would be if you're wearing a lighter color pant. I mean, it's good manners on the restaurant.
Well, and two, there's a practical application for it as well, because white linen napkins bring out white lint, and you don't want to be covered. So it's not just sartorial, although that's reason enough.
Well, hence, what I'm saying is that there's a reason for it.
Exactly.
And those who don't eat out very often, I felt like needed the explanation. What do they mean white or black?
Well, right.
This is one of those things where you have somebody in Independence, Missouri saying, I have no idea what they're talking about. Arby's doesn't have white. They just have brown napkins. Not fucking disposable napkins, okay?
Right.
Real cloth that get washed and unfortunately recycled.
Well, yeah.
I mean, I haven't got to the point where I brought my own napkins or silverware yet. But
it's coming.
Long story short, they go to the waiter, the manager comes over and he looks at me and he kind of tips his head like, I'm going to take care of it. And I'm like, thank you, appreciate it.
Grazie.
And he walks over and the guy was kind of looks, you could see him whisper, didn't like point me out or anything, which is fine if he did.
Well, what's he going to do?
Yeah, well, he didn't point me out.
But
the guy takes the hat off and kind of puts it there. And so what do you do in that case? What do you do? Well, here's what I do. Because they did this, not only does the waiter get,
Sure.
a little bit better of a tip, a little shimoli because he deserves it. But you gotta send over dessert because they were finishing up their meal. Right. So it's the manners.
It's classy.
So I sent him over what I feel is the best dessert is the bananas Foster.
Yes.
And so the guy rolls up the thing and he's freaking the fire and you can see the couple like looking around like, we didn't order this. And the waiter at that point says, oh, this gentleman did over here. And so they look and they're like, oh, hey, thanks. And then
thank you.
I was like, thanks for taking the hat off. And Molly was like, you just couldn't let it go. And I was like, I wanted him to know. I'm the one who got your hat taken off. Yet I'm also the one sending you the bananas Foster with the cool flames and stuff. Enjoy. You made my evening better. I just made your evening better.
And have we learned something from this?
Yeah. I'm sitting in church. I'm sitting there by myself because Molly's teaching Sunday school, as she does. And then the kids are with her. It's with her assisting because he's getting his hours in. He's doing that project thing. So he's getting his service hours in because they go to a private Christian school, so they have to get their service hours. And I'm sitting higher up in the pews. Well, I don't know if it's called pews in just a Christian church.
Yeah, because I think a pew is... Well, like in Catholic church, we have, those long...
I'm so used to saying pew, but I guess it wasn't a pew.
Well, that's how we were raised.
Yeah. So I'm sitting in this big monstrosity of this, it's huge church, right? It's not quite Joel Osteen bullshit big, but it's a pretty good size. It's a pretty big size church. And Molly's not Catholic, so she refuses to go through Mass. I brought her once, and she was like, never again. She's like, I didn't even know what to do. I was like, that's okay. We can learn.
Stand, kneel. It's aerobics.
Yeah, And sure enough, I see 2 or 3 guys walking in baseball caps. And I'm like, do you have a fucking Little League game to go to after this that you couldn't take the hat off before you sat in God's house?
That's the thing.
I don't understand.
Because growing up, that would have not flown for either of us.
No.
Growing up Catholic. So Ash Wednesday was a couple weeks ago.
Yep.
And being the good Catholic that I am, okay, so, Catholic school, we had Mass, 2-3 times a week?
Yes, 3 times a week.
And then we had church on Sunday.
Yeah.
And so I feel like I've checked that box a whole bunch already.
Right.
So I don't go as often as I should, much to my mother's chagrin. But that being said, I still go Ash Wednesday, Easter, Christmas at the very least.
The big ones.
The big ones.
The big 3.
And the church that I went to, it's cute. It's a little bitty guy in Inglewood, St. Louis. It's darling. It's no bigger than a minute. And there's a school across the street. And I went at 8 o'clock in the morning thinking, in and out, 30-minute daily mass. Easy peasy. No, not so much at all. It was the school kids came too. And it was all the Catholicism you could pack into 1 hour with the exception of incense. There were 4 altar boys and 2 seminarians, a nun, and not like the nuns we grew up with. No.
Really?
Yeah, I'm like, where the hell were you 30 years ago?
Little sexy?
No.
Oh.
Mid-50s.
Oh, so
holster hips,
I went somewhere else.
But kindly looking. She looked benevolent and not terrifying.
Gotcha.
But what struck me as funny about this was nobody was wearing hats, of course, because some things just...
Well, some things are right in the world.
Yeah. Remember when we were going to school? You didn't go to the bathroom. I didn't care if you sat in that pew and peed yourself. Yeah. This was the most wholly chaotic experience I've ever had on an Ash Wednesday in my entire memory of 97 years on this planet. Up, down, and back and forth to the bathroom and the visiting. And this wasn't just the school kids either. This was grown-ass people. And I am sitting in a pew full of blue hairs that are your typical daily mass goers.
Oh, yeah.
Who were also having none of this pie. I mean, I thought it was entertaining because the priest, God love him, gave a decent sermon geared towards elementary-aged people, which is kind of what I need because I, too, am elementary-aged mentally. But I just found that very funny, that has changed. The getting up and the meandering and the walking around and that would not have flown for even a millisecond growing up.
I feel like manners have changed in general.
I feel like they've almost gone completely extinct. I know your oldest went to cotillion and hated absolutely every single solid second of it.
Every fucking minute of it, he hated it.
I went to a parochial school, so they just kind of built that into the curriculum.
Right. Yeah. I went to cotillion because my mom thought I needed to be a gentleman as I was younger.
Yes, and that
I think she was more on the lines that you better quit fucking fighting. You guys go to cotillion, and that's fuck.
Yeah, you know how to fight as a gentleman, pistols at dawn, and all that. But nevertheless,
30 style boxing.
Exactly. But it short circuits me to the point where I don't even have words to describe my absolute abject disdain for people who make unnecessary noise.
Here's the thing.
Why?
The part that bothers you about it, because it bothers me too, is that they don't realize they're doing it.
Probably.
I mean, they're not doing it. That's the thing. They're not doing it purposefully. They're just doing it. And it's like, oh my God. Do you have no idea the fucking racket you are making breathing?
Well, breathe through your mouth.
Yeah.
I mean, don't open your mouth wide open and do it that way.
Breathe through your fucking ears. I don't do anything besides what the fuck you're doing. I mean, we'll be at a restaurant, and I'm looking. I'm like, this motherfucker. What the fuck is wrong with this boy?
Cannot.
Or let me tell you something else that bothers me. Since we're on this fucking topic, this is what I understand. When guys in general, I don't care how old they are. I don't care how old they are, how long they've been married or just started dating. When they don't open doors for women and the women have to open it themselves, I don't care if it's a car door or a door going in somewhere.
That's reprehensible.
I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Now, granted, I'm going to get plenty of women can open up their own doors. Yes, they can, but it doesn't mean they should.
No, the effort should still be made.
It drives me fucking crazy.
Or when they are the first to get off an elevator before all the women.
Well,
ladies first.
In the sense, okay, let me stop now. Here's in a hotel room. In a hotel, I will do that as well. I will stop Molly from exiting the elevator until I've taken a step out and looked around. Then I'll let her go.
Well, sure.
See, that's a protective thing, though.
Right.
Just to make sure. I want to know who's outside that elevator so she doesn't get jacked or something.
I'm speaking like I live in a high rise.
Yeah.
So in that instance.
Well, then yes.
Or I work in a 2-story building.
Right. Well, but I'm just saying. I'm just making the exception of I will take a step out of that elevator and look around before I let Molly take a step out.
Right.
Yeah.
In that instance. But it's always been ladies first. I know that. You know that. How come the rest of the world, with obvious exceptions, of course, don't seem to know that?
I don't know why. Where did chivalry die? Women, I'm sorry. Chivalry died somewhere. I'm not sure where parenting went wrong.
Seems to have.
Not for me. And we'll open up the door and hold the door to the point where I'm like, okay, buddy, let's go. 15 people have walked through now. Right. You're good, bud. Thanks.
But you have done a wonderful job raising all 3 of them because they're not bratty.
Yeah.
And they're good kids. But yes, he has He honestly didn't need cotillion before he went to cotillion. It was just kind of like a postdoctoral study for him because he was brought up by you.
Well, thank you, but I feel like the cotillion thing was Molly.
Oh, well, perhaps.
It wasn't me. I didn't really think he needed it, but Molly did.
Well,
and there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
It made him a better person.
For sure.
Even though he didn't even know he needed it or wanted it.
But it's those finer intangibles we're lacking as a society that sadden me tremendously. And that's why I'm so proud to be the adopted uncle to your children, because those finer intangibles on their kids.
I hope so.
Who will hopefully be the ones smuggling us bourbon and cigarettes in the nursing home.
Well, at least bourbon.
I'm taking up smoking the second I hit 50. I tell you what.
That's only a few years for me, so I can't. I don't think I'm going to go and smoke it.
Maybe not 50, but I've never been more unhappy with a healthy choice.
Well,
and so the second,
I see. The problem is I don't want my clothes to smell like smoke.
I
don't want my hair to smell like smoke. When a smoker walks in the room, you smell it, and you're like, oh.
I know. That's the only part of it I don't like. I liked having a cigarette in a holder.
Yeah.
Periodically burning someone to make a point, as one did or does, on accident.
On accident.
Promise I didn't mean to burn you. You just happened to walk into my orbit. But circling back to the people that came into church, 3 of them, hats on, in church.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, I'm in church. What are you going to do? I can't say anything. It's not I'm not giving the sermon. I can't do anything about it. I'm just Pastor Craig. I'm surprised he didn't say something. And maybe it's just here's the church that I go to is it's a non-denominational Christian church is what they call it now. And they play like rock music in the beginning. That's fun. Molly loves it. I think it's ridiculous, but it's like they're living. These churchgoers are living out their rock dreams, and they call it worship. I'm like, that's what you call worship, huh? Okay. Anywho, again, I'm not here to bash religion. You can do whatever you want to do. I just think that's the worst part of it. But I go, and so I'm sitting there, and I'm watching these 3 dads walk in, and I'm like, first of all, when was it okay to wear T-shirt and jeans to church?
Yeah, also that.
My goodness. And then on top of it, a hat. It's like people forgot the thought of your Sunday best.
Yeah.
Whatever happened to your Sunday best? Because if that's your Sunday best, holy shit. We need to start opening up Kmart again.
And on that note, here's a little segue. Because the tackily dressed, I feel Denver has more than their fair share per capita of tacky people. This is kind of where fashion, good taste comes to die. There was this lady that I ran into last week, and it was pretty decent for February. It was in the 60s this particular day.
Okay.
So I have a real aversion to beanies in general.
Oh.
I think they look stupid unless it's very, very cold outside, or you're doing something that necessitates wearing a beanie.
I don't mind beanies, but okay. I don't like the little bean thing on top, the
pom-pom?
The pom-pom thing.
I have big problems with that.
That's stupid.
But
Molly can rock it pretty cute, though. I got to admit.
She looks good and everything.
Yeah, she does.
But therein lies the rub. But with this lady, there's no Molly. All right, so she's got a beanie on, and it's about 62 degrees. And when it's that warm outside and you're wearing a beanie, my immediate thought is, how bad must your hair smell?
Or just, you're sweating?
But
you're beading up?
But
how moist are you right now?
So, to double down on this look, we have on a beanie, we have a puffer vest. Not a coat, but a puffer vest, 60 degrees. Yoga pants.
Is the vest?
Sandals.
Oh, God.
With those real wretched, thick, oatmeal-colored socks.
Let me ask you this. Is the vest at least, it's like
North
Target?
Face, Patagonia, something like that.
It's not even like the...
It was not a Montclair. It was not even a Canada Goose.
See, I didn't want to throw the names out. I just kind of left them.
Let me do it. I will go right on ahead. But even if it had been, it's 62 American degrees outside. Okay. If I'm not wearing a fur coat, you do not get a dress like that.
If it was a Montclair, I've seen this happen from our girl Molly. Mm-hmm. If it's a Montclair vest with those little aloe stretchy things that she wears, what accentuates her booty. I didn't take a drink there. I was getting excited. But if it's that with a little beanie, now here's the thing: she wouldn't. If there are sandals, they're either Fendi or Prada.
These were
Gucci.
Birkenstocks.
Oh God, that's the worst of the worst.
With oatmeal socks.
That's gross.
Thank you.
Yeah, okay.
And the thing is, I immediately took offense to it for no other reason than, honestly, it was just an
Just the
offense to
weather?
the human eyesight, and it was 62 degrees,
Yeah.
and I am like an orchid. You know this.
Yes.
The second it gets cold, and let's put cold in quotation marks, furs come out, the bitching begins or intensifies, as the case may be. But even I, for as orchid-like as my tendencies are when it comes to temperature, wasn't even wearing a fur coat that day. Wasn't even wearing a coat. I don't see good hygiene with it. And quite frankly, because it's the greasy hair. And I'm talking more about men at this point.
Right. Did we get rid of man buns? Did that go away finally?
I sure hope so.
I
I haven't
fucking
seen one in
couldn't
a while
stand-
now that you
my
mention it.
God. I couldn't stand that.
Who thought that was a good idea?
I don't know. The same people who wear fucking Birkenstocks. The same people who wear Birkenstocks is the same people who are like, I'm going to throw myself in a man bun. I don't know.
Well, and that's the thing about Birkenstocks aren't even comfortable. And I don't own a pair of comfortable shoes.
I've never put one on. I wouldn't know.
They're hard soled. But here's the thing. Comfort aside, if you're going to buy uncomfortable shoes, at least make them look good.
Well,
If
yeah.
they're ugly and uncomfortable, what the hell's the point? I can see beautiful and uncomfortable.
Louboutins, I hear, are, Molly says they're extremely uncomfortable, but makes
They
her
look
legs
good.
look fantastic.
Exactly.
Yeah. I'm going to stop saying that because this whole conversation, I brought up Molly in almost every conversation. I
Well.
tell people all the time, I don't, and I've told her before, I'm like, I never realized how much I talk about you.
Yeah.
I talk a lot about her.
Well, you love your wife. That's not a bad thing.
Well, I mean, I love to look at my wife.
Yes. And in this day and age, fidelity is like good manners. It's virtually unknown.
It is good manners. I lay a bet with this guy. He's a big Raider fan. And I'm like, look, the Raiders aren't going to win.
It's his first ding
Yeah,
against,
I mean,
in your estimation.
Yeah, I was like, come on, man.
The team that wears the black, right?
Yeah, they are the team that wear the silver and black, yes.
Yes.
They are the Raiders. And I believe they were playing my Niners.
Who wear red and gold.
Red and gold.
Yes.
I mean,
This is
it's
how
white
Nick
at
has
times.
to explain sports to me.
Yeah, and so they were playing my Niners, and I said, look, man, you're not going to win. Just he's like, I'll bet you 1,000. I'm like, you can bet me 1,000, you might as well bet me 5,000. He's like, really? I'm like, dude, yeah, the money don't matter to me. I mean, you got $5,000? He's like, I got $5,000. I'm like, okay. Well, at this point, I'm just like, all right, if you're stupid enough to make this bet, I'm stupid enough. I'll take the money from you.
Exactly.
And so sure enough, I take the money or I take the bet, and guess what? The Niners win. The Raiders lose, as they do. And sure enough, he's like, okay. And I felt bad for the guy because I wasn't sure if he had the money. Maybe he had to pay his electric bill or rent or something.
Alimony. Something.
Whatever it might have been.
Right.
But he didn't have $5,000 just kicking around. I mean, I got probably $5,000 in my pocket, but he don't have $5,000 kicking around right now. Right. So I'm like, he's like, double or nothing. I'm like, all right, man, double or nothing. I'm like, what do you want to bet? He's like, that the Raiders are going to win next week against whoever they were playing. Maybe the Jets or something. I don't know who it was. And I'm like, you may not want to take that bet. The other team would, again, whatever it was what, 3 years ago at this point? 2 years ago?
2, 3, something like that. Yeah.
I said they're not looking good. This other team's looking better. I wouldn't take the bet. He's like, no, man, the Raiders. It was a fluke last week that the Niners beat him. It was a fluke. I'm like, no, they're a fundamentally better team, but this is Jimmy Garoppolo at that time was the quarterback for the Niners. I'm like, look, the Raiders aren't going to beat whatever team it was.
Right.
And I said, trust me, man, this isn't a good bet for you. Don't take this one. He's like, no, man, I'll take this. And the Raiders were getting points. Getting points means that the other team has to win by X amount of points. Yeah. Just, I figured when giving points, I didn't know if you know what that meant. So that means if the Raiders get like 3.5 points, that means the opposing team has to beat them by at least 3.5 points, or the bet goes in the other direction.
Right.
Okay. And I said, even with the points, man, it's not a good spread. I'm telling you right now. He's like, no, man. I said, double or not. I said, double's $10,000, motherfucker. I said, do you have $10,000? Because I'm worried about your 5 right now. And he's like, no, man, I got it. I'll get it. Even if I didn't, I get it. And that makes me nervous right there. When someone, I'll get it, that means you don't have it. So guess what? The Raiders lose. So I go to call him. Ring-a-dingy. He doesn't pick up. I give it a day. I don't want to rub it in. Don't kick a dog while he's down.
Right.
Ring-a-dingy. Nope. Week goes by. I'm sending him texts. Hey, ready to pay up? Did you get the 10? Nothing. So I figured, all right, I'll just write this son of a bitch off. I'll just never talk to him ever again. I mean, obviously, he wasn't that close of a friend. He was more of a friend of a friend.
Sure.
Wasn't like a real good buddy of mine.
It was, frankly, imaginary money at that point.
Yeah. So I was like, yeah, whatever. I mean, because it didn't cost me anything. He just owed it.
Right.
And I'm like, all right, you're just a piece of shit. That's fine. I can deal with that. I went to my local Starbucks store. Sure enough, that motherfucker's sitting in Starbucks. And I was in the drive-thru. I pulled right out of the fucking drive-thru and decided I'm going to go ahead and go in.
Right.
So I go in and I'm like, hey, I don't want to say his name. That would be rude. Let's just call him Andy. I'm like, hey, Andy. He saw me. He turned white as a ghost. I'm like, how you doing? Being friendly at this point because it's nice to be polite. Manners are important.
Very much so.
I said, you getting a cup of coffee? He's like, yeah, can I get you anything? I said, yeah, get me a venti non-fat latte, please.
And $10,000.
And then come on over here to this table. I said, let's chat. Hey, don't worry, I'm not mad because I wasn't mad.
Right.
And so he sits down, hands me the coffee. He's like, yo, man, I know I owe you the money. I said, okay, well, at least you're acknowledging it. I said, here's where you went wrong.
Well, how you lean in like
I just kind of reenact. I can't help it.
No, it makes
I'm like, here's where you went wrong. Where you went wrong is that you didn't call me back and you didn't text me back. And I feel like you've been ducking me.
Right.
And that bothers me. I said, so here's what we're going to do. Do you have the $10,000? He said, I'm going to get it. I said, no. You've had a week now. You've had a week. So if you're going to get it, you're going to get it by now. So that means you don't have it. Do you have anything worth $10,000? Because before you answer, let me tell you what I got. I got a Louisville Slugger in the back of my fucking car right there that I'm about ready to crack over your motherfucking head if you don't give me my money. I ain't fucking around. I'm not the one you want to do this with. Because here's the deal. If I would have lost, you would have had $5,000 in your pocket. But you said, no, double or nothing. So now you just escalated the situation.
Right.
You elevated my anger by not getting back to me. And now I'm at the point where I just want to hurt you. I'm not mad about it. This is just how it is. He said, and we're sitting right across from your store. John runs a jewelry store. If you haven't figured that out yet. Jonny Rey. So I said, look. He's like, give me a minute. I'm like, I'll give you. I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to drink my cup of coffee. If you do not come back, because I do know where you live, and I know everything about you, I'm just going to maybe pay a visit to you. Or maybe my friends will. Your call. It's the good thing about having friends in low places. He's like, just give me 30 minutes. Fine. I'm gonna enjoy my coffee. I love it. It's a beautiful day. I'm fine. I'm just chilling. He goes away and he comes back. And he's got this Rolex. And I said, what's this? He's like, it's worth about $10,000. I'm like, whose Rolex is this? I said, is this real? He's like, I swear to God, it's real. I'm like, because I don't like the box. The box doesn't look real. I said, you got papers on it? He said, no, I swiped it from my dresser. Now I know this motherfucker didn't have a Rolex.
How old is this person?
He's probably he's in his late 20s, early 30s.
Ah, okay.
He's a kid.
Okay.
So I'm like, look, my best friend works at this jewelry store right here. So I drive over, I see you, I tell you the story. You're cackling.
Uh-huh.
He's texting me, blowing up, because I told him, look, if this isn't real, not only did you lose the watch, but I'm going to see you tonight. I'm like, come on. It's been a week. This is ridiculous. You're the one who wanted to bet. I didn't make you take the bet.
Exactly.
You stupid son of a bitch. Sure enough, we had Corey check it out. It's a legit Rolex. So I get the Rolex. I waive the fee because, there was a big on it. He owed me a little bit more than 10. You don't just,
No.
You don't duck me and not have to pay an interest. And it was legit. Now the box was Fugazi's all get out.
Yes.
That's where I was like, I'm gonna go across the street.
That
here.
was the worry.
Yeah, I was like, this box is bad, but the watch was fine, and it was worth about 10. Mm-hmm. So there's that.
I love that story. I know Molly doesn't love that story.
I don't even know how much Molly knows about that story, to be honest with you.
She's fixing to hear the whole thing.
She's probably gonna hear about it.
But personally, I thought it was a good story. A hell of a lot more interesting than what I normally hear throughout the course of a day.
Well,
but
you work in a jewelry store.
What can I say? Sometimes it's very interesting.
Well, I think the most interesting stories are when husbands are coming in to buy things for the girlfriends.
Girlfriends? Yes. Those.
Girlfriends or boyfriends?
Or boyfriends, or both.
Your world is more interesting than mine, I'll tell you that. I don't deal with Gen Pop like you do.
Well, I deal with a rarefied strata of Gen Pop.
Yeah. Well, yeah, your Gen Pop has to specifically come to your store.
Right.
It's not like you're walking in the mall and all of a sudden, boom, let's go look at.
Did that for a
$100.
lot of years, though.
Well, you got to cut your teeth somewhere.
Exactly.
You know, I cut my teeth being a runner. You cut your teeth. And I don't mean a runner of a jogger. I mean a runner of numbers.
Well, if you don't even walk, you sure as shit don't run. The only thing on either of us ever runs is our mouths.
Well, yeah.
And then me late this morning, which is atypical.
That's all right. I let that go. I didn't even say anything about it.
I know, but I was pissed.
Well, I think what we've decided on this episode is that manners are dead. Mm-hmm. We're trying to revive that. Mm-hmm. Don't wear hats in church, nor in restaurants. Mm-hmm. And Denver's fashion sense has never existed and probably never will.
Okay, everybody. Well, that's enough from us today. Hopefully this was time well wasted for you. Hopefully you got a chuckle. If you didn't, well, honey, that's really on you. Grow a sense of humor.
That's funny. Okay.